And unfortunately, I simply don't think that that's the movie that they delivered. It just kind of felt like an empty film. That there just wasn't much there at all on any level.
Josh Hutcherson never expected to be blamed for the collapse of a franchise. FNAF 2 was meant to elevate his role, yet fans turned on him overnight. Critics attacked, the studio stayed silent, and a rumor spread that Scott Cawthon held Josh responsible. That idea took over the conversation instantly. The sequel didn't stumble. It crashed in front of everyone. Fans left theaters upset, critics shredded the plot, and Josh became the face of the fallout. Every missing lore detail and awkward rewrite was pinned on him as if he controlled the entire film. Excitement around him flipped into pressure he couldn't avoid. Then Scott broke his silence with one line. "You can change the story, but you can't erase the truth." Fans interpreted it as a direct message toward Josh, and the reaction blew up. The belief that the creator blamed the lead actor spread faster than any official review.
Am I the biggest Five Nights at Freddy's fan in the world? Nope. But, did I see the first film? Yes. Did I like it? No. But, I could understand why others did. So, I just saw the second film. Did I like it? Nope. But this time, I can't understand why others seem to like it.
Josh tried to ignore it, but the wave grew louder. Edits mocked his performance, threads accused him of damaging the lore, and whispers claimed Scott wanted his scenes changed before the studio pushed back. Soon, Josh wasn't just facing criticism. He was fighting a narrative that said he helped sink the sequel and triggered the rumored cancellation of Part 3.
But yeah, look at this. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is overall terrible. I mean, it's just nonstop of like these critics saying this movie stinks. Like, it is the worst thing. Why did I waste my time? It goes on and on.
Before the sequel even released, the buildup around Josh Hutcherson reached a level no actor could dodge. Fans believed this movie would correct every problem from the first one and finally deliver the lore they'd been waiting for. The trailer blew up online as people broke down every frame. Josh became the center of all theories before the film even had a chance. Studio marketing pushed him even further. Posters framed him as the emotional core, and interviews sold him as the force driving the darker tone. Expectations stacked higher each day as fans trusted he would bring the story back to its roots. Every preview of his character added more pressure, but behind the excitement, the foundation was already shaky. Leaks hinted at disagreements about tone and emotional direction, and Josh stood in the middle of those choices. The studio wanted speed and spectacle, while others wanted the eerie weight that defined FNAF. That tension set the stage for the crash that followed. When premiere week arrived, Josh carried expectations no one could realistically meet. Fans didn't hope he would deliver. They insisted he had to. The sequel looked ready to become a major win for the franchise until everything flipped and Josh became the face of a meltdown no one saw coming. The first 30 minutes fooled everyone. The atmosphere worked, the animatronics looked sharp, and Josh's role seemed steady. For a moment, fans believed the sequel might finally deliver. Then the shift hit fast and the mood collapsed. Once the setup ended, the pacing fell apart. Scenes felt disconnected, and emotional beats tied to Josh's character didn't land due to rewrites that ignored the lore. Confusion spread through theaters as excitement turned into unease. Fans sensed the story was slipping. By the time credits rolled, reactions were harsh. Fans rushed online asking what went wrong and why Josh's character felt so distant from the original tone. Posts blaming him for not capturing the spirit of the game spread quickly. The meltdown took over the night. Clips were shared with comments calling Josh the weak link instead of pointing at script changes or studio decisions. The moment that should have lifted his role pushed him straight into the center of the backlash. When reviews dropped the next morning, critics tore into the film's pacing and structure. Yet the blame didn't stay on the script. It slid straight toward Josh as his performance became the easiest target. Fans latched onto that idea instantly. Rotten Tomatoes sank fast, and memes spread across every platform. Edits compared Josh's scenes from Part 1 to Part 2, calling the new version flat or confused. Some said he lost the tone. Others insisted he didn't understand the lore. The claims traveled faster than context. Even longtime FNAF YouTubers joined the criticism. Their thumbnails placed Josh front and center, asking what went wrong and who derailed the saga. A clear narrative formed within hours. The sequel failed, and Josh was tied to the failure. As the review bombing grew, fans ignored the rewrites and missing lore. The script's issues faded from the spotlight. Josh became the simplest explanation for a film that fell apart on every level. Scott Cawthon stayed silent for days, and that silence fueled endless theories. Some fans believed he blamed the studio, while others claimed he blamed Josh directly. Without clarity, the rumor spread until it shaped the entire meltdown. Studio comments made the situation worse. When an executive suggested Scott approve the new direction, fans assumed he approved Josh's portrayal too. That led to claims that Scott trusted the wrong lead, and the pressure around Josh intensified instantly. Then, Scott finally spoke. A single sentence on a blank page. You can change the story, but you can't erase the truth. With no context, fans interpreted it however they wanted. Many took it as a direct jab at Josh's role, and the reaction exploded. The community turned that line into a rallying point. Edits paired it with Josh's scenes threads, dissected the meaning, and blame surged again. Scott's silence had been heavy, but his cryptic message pushed Josh even deeper into the fire. The first leak spread fast. Insiders said Scott urged the studio to fix emotional beats tied to Josh's character because the arc drifted far from the core of FNAF. That claim instantly changed how fans viewed the meltdown. It suggested the missteps weren't coming from Scott at all. Another report said Scott pushed for rewrites that would strengthen Josh's connection to the lore. Those notes were ignored in favor of speed and spectacle, meant to appeal to casual viewers. Fans saw this as proof the studio blocked improvements that could have saved the film. Then came the viral line, "This isn't FNAF anymore." People treated it as Scott's verdict on the story and on Josh's forced direction. Whether accurate or not, it fueled the belief that the creator had lost faith in what the studio delivered. By the time fans processed everything, they believed Scott's warnings were dismissed, and Josh became the face of choices he never made. The leaks helped shift the narrative from simple failure to a deeper conflict behind the scenes. More rumors surfaced, claiming Scott told producers the acting felt detached from the emotional core. Fans twisted that into a claim Scott blamed Josh directly, even though the issue was the script. Once again, Josh carried blame for decisions outside his control. Some leaks suggested Josh felt trapped defending choices he didn't make. The community imagined him stuck between studio demands and a creator who disagreed with the direction. This added a new layer of tension to an already messy situation. Another leak said Scott offered to rewrite key scenes for free, including adjustments to Josh's arc. The studio rejected the offer, which convinced fans that Josh had been set up in a role that wasn't built to succeed. That belief spread quickly. Soon the internet filled with theories about hidden meetings and tense exchanges. True or not didn't matter. Each rumor dragged Josh deeper into a conflict he never created, making him the easiest target in a collapsing project. As the backlash grew, fans launched a full rebellion. Hashtags supporting Scott spread fast, but many posts targeted Josh directly. He became the symbol of a direction fans felt betrayed the heart of FNAF even when the issues ran deeper. Fan edits compared Josh's performance from the first film to the sequel, claiming the change proved something went wrong behind the scenes. Some said he lost the emotional weight. Others argued the studio forced him into a style that didn't match the lore. All of it fueled more criticism. Old collaborators defending Scott made things worse for Josh. Their praise for Scott's understanding of the story sounded like confirmation that the sequel lost its soul. Fans interpreted that as a hint Josh couldn't carry the vision the creator intended. Within days, the movement grew massive. Petitions demanded a more faithful cut, and some even pushed for Josh to be recast for Part 3. The backlash was no longer about a single movie. It became a fight over who represented the true spirit of the franchise, and Josh stood in the middle of it. After a week of silence, the studio finally released a statement. It claimed they respected Scott's vision and supported the creative choices behind the sequel, but it offered no clarity, no apology, and no accountability. Fans tore it apart within minutes, calling it empty and detached from the meltdown. Comments turned harsh fast. Many said the studio pushed blame onto Josh and hid behind corporate language. Others argued the post confirmed Scott had been ignored. The tension grew instead of calming anything down. Then Scott spoke again with one short line. "Sometimes you can't recognize your own creation anymore." Fans treated it like a direct hit toward the studio and the direction Josh had been forced into. The message spread instantly across every platform. Josh reached his breaking point. Reports said he felt trapped defending decisions he didn't make, while fans believed Scott blamed him personally. The pressure pushed him to demand clarity behind the scenes as the narrative twisted further out of his control. As ticket sales fell, studios paused merch and delayed digital releases. Fans took that silence as a sign Part 3 had been canceled. Many blamed the sequel's direction, and some aimed that frustration at Josh calling him the center of the mess. Scott then posted a longer message. He reminded fans of the story's roots and said the sequel drifted too far from its emotional core. Supporters took that as Scott distancing himself from Josh's arc and the studio's choices. His final line set the internet on fire. "If they won't tell the story right, I will." Fans believed it meant Scott planned to reclaim full control. Rumors grew that Part 3 as planned was finished, and the franchise would restart under his lead. Josh faced the fallout alone. Some insisted he step aside if Scott returned. Others defended him, arguing he was caught in a system that ignored the creator. Either way, his name stayed tied to the collapse and the rumored shutdown of the trilogy. The downfall of FNAF 2 became more than a bad release. It turned into a public clash between creator studio and fans, with Josh trapped in the center. He carried blame for choices he never controlled as the narrative built around him. Scott's voice rose above the chaos, and fans backed him without hesitation. His brief messages shaped the direction of the conversation and made him the trusted figure in the meltdown. The studio's credibility sank with every update. Part 3 became the biggest question. Would Scott rebuild the franchise, or would the project stay frozen under the backlash? Every rumor pointed to one truth. The future depended on who controlled the story, not who performed in it. Josh remains tied to the fallout, while Scott stands ready to reclaim what he created. Whether the franchise rises or resets, the message is clear. They can change the story, but they can't erase the truth.